Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel Nelson Network. Today we are going to do our second lab, which is to build a network topology of 2 switches and 2 routers. So in order to do that, we will use Packet Tracer as usual. So let's go straight into it. So you click on network devices. What type of network device do we need? We need switches, right? So what type of switch? Multi-layer switch. Multi-layer because they perform routing and switching. So layer 2 and layer 3. But we'll be focusing on their layer 2 properties today, which is the type of switch here is 3650. Let's select 3650, which is this one. So let's press Ctrl on our keyboard and press this in order to use it twice. Yeah. Now we need, from our list, we need 2 PCs. So let's come, a PC is an end device. Let's come to PC. We need 2, so Control. Yeah. Now we need a cable. What type of cable do we need? We need a copper straight through cable because we are connecting 2 different types of devices, which is a PC and a switch. So come to connection. You can also press Ctrl here. Connect the fast Ethernet interface of the PC to the gigabit Ethernet interface of the switch. We use the same copper straight through cable to connect the fast Ethernet interface of this PC to the gigabit Ethernet interface of this router, this switch, sorry. Now we need a crossover cable to connect this switch together because they are the same device. The switch and the switch, we connect it using crossover cable. That's it. Now we can modify, let's call this PC1. Let's call this PC2. Let's call this switch 2. Switch 1. Now we can go in preference. You can click on always show port labels. We just do this because I want to write them manually. Let's see for that. I'm typing the manual these labels manually because it's easy to move them around. Because when the default labels, we can't move them around. So that's why I'm typing it manually. So now that I have that, click on select, move them closer. now I can uncheck this. Yeah. So you can move this easily. So now we have our topology of 2 PCs and 2 switches. So you can go into one switch, go to CLI. You see the device must be powered on. That means there's no power supply in it. So in order to power the device, you click here, you plug in power supply, and now let's go back and see it's booting. Cool. So you have to do this for the second switch as well. Device must be powered on. Let's come here, check again, it's booting. Let's come back here. So now that the device is on, you see it is the light has changed to orange and it will go to green very soon. So what do we need to do? Press enter. Would you like to enter the initial configuration? No, we are not doing that. So now we are in user mode. We can to know the type of commands we have here, just type in question mark. You see all the commands you have here. Can enable, go to privileged exec mode, enable to turn on privilege command. So let's check this. No. Enable. Yeah. So what we do, let's check the commands we have available in the privilege mode. I just press question mark. We can configure. Let's go to configuration mode in order to change the name of the switch. Config tab question mark config terminal T tab, press enter. Now we are in configuration. Let's see the type of commands we have in configuration. Just put question mark again. Let's see how to change the host name. Okay, you have this host name, set systems network name. So you're gonna use that. Let's press. We can also press. Can start typing and just press question mark. It gives you host name. Or you press tab and change the host name. SW2. Yeah. As you see, we have changed the host name to SW2. Great. Let's do the same for SW1. We go to conft, short way to just type conft. You can press host SW1. This is a shorthand of host name. Just type host. Yeah, and you do the same job. Now that we've changed the name, let's go back to privilege exec mode. What we need to do here, we can do show IP interface brief in order to see all our interfaces. You see, unlike the router, the switch has many interfaces. and you notice that there are two interfaces which are up by default, because as we said in the last video, switches are by default up. They're not administratively down by default like a router. So we don't need to we don't necessarily need to go into the switch and use the command no shutdown in order to bring it up. So by default, that's why it turned green immediately. Immediately we booted it up, it turned green. So now we have to configure the VLAN. We have to bring this up, because this is where we assign our IP address on this VLAN interface. This is the virtual interface for that switch. So this interface is where we're going to configure an IP address in order to log into this switch. And this will be a virtual interface, because if you want to configure anything on this switch from a remote distance, we're going to use the IP address that will be assigned to this VLAN in order to telnet or SSH into this switch. So we're going to configure this interface. So for us to do that, let's go to config, conft, let's type question mark. Let's see, we can have VLAN commands, VLAN question mark. So now it's asking which number. That from here you see it's VLAN 1. That's the default VLAN. VLAN 1. So I made a mistake. I was supposed to do this interface VLAN first. VLAN 1 here. Yeah. So that's how it's supposed to be written. Now that we are in the interface config mode, let's set the IP address. Tab 192.168.1.1. Let's say 1.10. 255. So we need to bring it up, no shut down. And show IP. So now you see that we've assigned an IP to the VLAN and it's up. To confirm that it's working properly, we should be able to ping ourselves just like we did in the previous video, and this should work. Yes, 100% success rate. So it works. Now I've done that for switch 1. I'll go and do the same and check it switch 2. Let's go to show IP, show IP. See the VLAN is also not configured and administratively down. Let's config interface VLAN 1 IP address 192.168.1.1. 20. 125. No shot. And let's go. Now let's check there. Now you see that this IP is assigned to this VLAN and the interface is up. Let's confirm that by trying to ping ourselves. 168.1.0. Yeah, it works. So we can check show VLAN. You see VLAN 1 is the default VLAN. These are the other VLANs we have which are active but they have no ports assigned to it. So by default, all the interfaces of the switch are assigned by default in VLAN 1 unless we configure it otherwise. So that's why when you assign an IP to VLAN 1, it comes up because all the interfaces in that VLAN were up already. So we can ping ourselves as we said. It's working. 192.168.1.20. Let's try ping switch 1. It works at 80% rate because the first ping failed. Each exclamation mark is 20%. So we have 4 exclamation marks here because the first ping failed because of app. So it's trying to it didn't notice the MAC address of switch 1. That's why the first ping failed. If you do that again, it will be 100%. Let's see. Yes, because now it knows the MAC address of switch 1. Now let's make sure that switch 1 can also ping switch 2, right? Yeah. Switch 1. Can you ping switch 2? Let's see. Let's see that. It can ping itself for sure. Now, can you ping switch 2? Yeah, you can. Notice it's 100% because it has received a ping already from switch 2. So the app table is completed already. So let's save this config. Copy running config start config. Okay, let's save the config on switch 2 as well. Copy running start config. Yeah. So now that we've saved the config, we can assign IPs to our PCs. Click on PC, go to configuration, see that we don't have, go to fast internet, you don't have any, you can either assign an IP to a PC using TCP or using static. So here we're going to use static IP. We're going to assign it manually 192.168.1.1. Give it subnet mask automatically. So we can go to command prompt. Let's check IP config. This is our IP that we've assigned to the PC. Now let's try to ping ourselves. 192.168.1.1. It works. So let's try to ping 192.168.1.10. It works. So that's good. Let's assign an IP for PC2. Config fast Ethernet 192.168.1.2. Say that. Go to command prompt. Let's check it if it worked. Yep. So this is the IP of the PC. Now let's ping ourselves to make sure it works properly. It works. Let's verify if we can ping PC1. It works. So now we are sending ping through the network from this PC2. It goes here to PC1, so it works. So yeah, we can also try using simulation to confirm that everything works well. Let's click here on simulation. Let's show all none. Click on this one. Now we're gonna edit the filter. What we're gonna use is ARP. Click on ARP and ICMP. This is a protocol for ping. So let's do that. Let's come back to PC1. So on simulation, let's ping let's press play first. Let's ping PC1. Let me bring this here so we can see how it's going. Let's ping PC1. You see the packet is from this. We can see all our let's actually reset this. Let's reset it and let's try it again to have a better understanding. So we are PC2 trying to ping PC1. So play. You see this is the packet that's going. It goes to PC1. Let's click on it. So we can see layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, layer 5, 6, 7. This is the OSI modules layer. Now we are focused on only layer 1 to 3 because that's what we are using. Our multi-layer switch is the IP. All the IP work is done on layer 3, as you can see right here. So this is the MAC address layer 2. This is the MAC address of the let's pause this. Where's Picasso?